Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, hold on one second. I'm balancing this phone on a Rice Krispie Square. I kid you not, and I'm going to turn off the car. I've blasted the AC so that this car remains mildly cool for the duration of this car vlog. Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler, in my home office, but I'm at my nephew's graduation, and before we sit down for a very, very late lunch, I've got to get this vlog out of the way, because we were supposed to talk about this yesterday during the Friday afternoon Rumble exclusive 4 o'clock afternoon live stream, except I had on Ivan Raiklin, who was talking about a lawsuit filed against him and the CIA, wrongful dismissal, defamation, tortious interference by a now ex-CIA employee, who blames Ivan Raiklin for her getting fired.
Okay, so that now it makes sense.
But I will tell you this, remember, so after I called out that this was the reason, her LinkedIn post was the reason why I even made the assumption that she was at the CIA with the question tweet that I just talked about. What did she do to her LinkedIn account?
Nukes it.
Nuked it. It's gone. But guess what? I knew that would happen. That's why I take screenshots. And not only do I take screenshots, I take video shots. Let's just say I may or may not have all 122 comments. So when it comes time to prove whether or not this was a screenshot that she deleted, I'm going to reach out to those 122 user accounts and call them in to testify if they saw this.
People are so stupid. I tell people, like, deleting tweets on the one hand, you might be deleting exculpatory evidence. Like, she might have deleted something that might have actually helped her, but now by deleting, it looks suspect. So she's suing you and a bunch of others, but not Laura Loomer.
It was an amazing stream, and it went on for about an hour and a half, so we never got to the story of the day yesterday, which was the apparent illegal alien, 19-year-old Shanema Cristobal, who was allegedly, as the media headlines are stating, about to be deported, potentially deported because of a traffic violation. Now, before we even get into the assessment of the situation, because it is one of those not borderline from a legal perspective, borderline from a human perspective, where nobody can feel good about potentially having to deport a 19-year-old woman who has been in America, from what I understand, since the age of 4, when her father came here illegally, here being America because that's where I am right now. Her father came here illegally 15 years ago when she was 4. She was an involuntary illegal alien because of what her father did or did not do since having come to America. She's now 19 years old, and she got pulled over for a traffic violation. It is true. That being said, she did not get arrested and potentially deported for a traffic violation. She got pulled over for allegedly not using a blinker signal when turning right or making an unlawful right. She got arrested because she didn't have a license. They're saying she didn't have a valid license. If you don't have a valid driver's license, you don't have a license. So she got brought to the station where, upon asking her about her immigration status, she disclosed that she's here illegally. Some people are also going to say not having a driver's license, although victimless in this situation, how does one operate a vehicle without the appropriate regulation license? How do you operate a vehicle? If you're operating without a license, you're operating without insurance. And so there's been no accident, no fatal accident, thank goodness for small miracles in this particular situation. But we've heard of the situations. Illegal alien driving without a license causes a fatal crash. If there had been an accident, even not fatal, not having car insurance, some people argue, is exactly why car insurance is so expensive in Florida in particular, but in America at large. So she was not pulled over and potentially to be deported for not using a blinker. She was driving a car without a lawful license, even though she said she had an international license, which she didn't have on her at the time. She was taken to the police station where she was admitted to be here illegally since the age of 4 because of her father, who in the 15 years that they've been here illegally apparently has not made any attempt to remedy that illegal situation, that unlawful situation. And yeah, now it looks like she might be potentially at risk of deportation because she's here illegally. Incidentally, her father, from what I understand, was also taken into custody a week earlier, and he is also scheduled to be deported. The situation is ugly. There's no one who's enforcing immigration law here that feels good about deporting a 19-year-old woman who has been here since the age of 4 because her father decided to break the law. Nobody feels good about deporting her. And I had made the comment on the internet that Homan comes out and says we're going to target the violent criminal illegals. And so from a PR perspective, maybe this isn't the best move. I was abruptly and rightly corrected by Andrew Bronca, the law of self-defense. And he said, yeah, Homan said he's not going to target the non-violent. It doesn't mean that he's not going to deport the illegals if they come across them in other ways. And he's 100% right. That being said, I wouldn't want to be the person having to deport a 19-year-old woman here for 15 years because of the illegal acts of her father. But the law is the law, and that is the law. A lot of people misrepresenting what's going on. That is what's going on. It's one of those dirty, ugly situations that it's unfortunate. I don't know how you go about remedying your illegal situation once you're in the country illegally. The buzzword is, claim asylum and then move on from there. But this is the story of the day. She has now replaced Kilmar Abrego Garcia as the poster child of Trump's inhumane deporting of illegal aliens. At least it's a step in the right direction from a PR perspective, because going down on the ship of the MS-13 wife-beating alleged human trafficking, because it's on video, illegal alien, might not be the best from a PR perspective. Even this, Trump came in with a promise. Homan came in with a promise. They're not targeting the non-violence. They are getting caught up in the cleanup of decades of a mess of American politics, and more specifically 4 years of absolute devastation of the Biden regime. At the end of the day, who does Cristobal have the right to be angry at? She will be angry at the authorities. Being uprooted from what is effectively her home of the last 15 years, albeit she's here illegally. She'll be angry at the regime. She'll be angry at ICE. She should be angry at her father, and the responsibility lies on her father for having come here illegally, put the family in that situation. In Canada, there was a Supreme Court justice. Her name is Justice Bish. And she said, sympathy does not guide the court. Sympathy cannot guide the court. And this is a situation which is wildly difficult for the daughter. And some might even say unfair, and you feel bad for them. But sympathy cannot dictate the law. And sympathy cannot dictate violating the rule of the law. Sympathy cannot dictate ignoring the law. And what you have here is a situation where this girl is going to potentially suffer some serious consequences as a result of the illegal acts of her father, and will probably blame the wrong people, and the media will probably blame the wrong people. It's, following the rules is not discretionary. Following the law is not discretionary, because if it is, all right, people, it got so hot in the car, my phone overheated. That's how hard we vlog at Viva Frei. What I was in the midst of saying is that following the law is not discretionary, because if following the law is discretionary, you don't have lawfulness, you have lawlessness. Now, as a pure matter of coincidence, I ended up in a place called The Villages. Like, we're just driving through, say, hey, let's stop for lunch here. The Villages. And it brought me back to a moment in my childhood where I remembered an ad that we used to see on television. The Villages, Florida's friendliest hometown. I'm in The Villages right now, people. I might end up in The Villages in about 40 years, but I'm in The Villages right now. That's the vlog. If you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We will talk about this tomorrow night during the Sunday night law extravaganza. The Villages, people, where people come to be comfortable for the remaining day. It's actually very nice out here, but I'm gonna go and finish up lunch, and now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah! The Villages, Florida's friendliest hometown. If you know, you know.
The Villages, where the smiles shine all year round. The Villages, Florida's friendliest hometown. From our
Welcome to the Villages.
The Villages, where the smiles shine all year